Okay, group, we are on page 6. We're doing our practice here. So it says, find the area of the parallelograms below. Round your answer to the nearest tenth if necessary. So area, again, is base times height. Base times height. So if we look at our base here, our base is going to be 18 feet. If we add those two together, and our height is 16 feet. So we'll do 16 times 18, and we get 288. And since this is area, it'll be feet squared. Okay, letter B. Okay, it looks here like we have a rhombus, so if we remember, the opposite angles are congruent, so this angle over here will be 60 degrees. And all of these sides are actually congruent because of the tick marks. So we know that this one's 24, that means our other here is 24. And so to find that height, okay, we're going to label that X, and we're going to use some trig here. So we have this angle, okay, we have the hypotenuse, and then we have this opposite side. Okay, so O and H, if we look at our SOHCAHTOA is sine. So the sine of 60 is opposite X over hypotenuse 24. Okay, multiply both sides by 24 to get that X by itself. So 24 times the sine of 60 is 20.8. Okay, so that means our height is 20.8. Our base is 24. We already had that when we started. So we end up with 498.8, and that will be inches squared. Okay, the area for a triangle, we have our base and our height, so this one is actually pretty straightforward. It'll be 1.6 times 1.6. Which is 2.56. And that will be centimeters squared. Okay, letter D, we have our height. Okay, we need to find our base. I'm going to label it B. We need to find our base. And so if we have a right triangle here, which we know that with rectangles we have 4 right angles. So right here's a right angle. We can do the Pythagorean theorem here. 20 is our hypotenuse, so that'll have to be our C. Okay, we'll have a squared, we'll put that as 12. And then we're solving for our b, and we'll leave that as b squared. So 20 squared is 400. 12 squared is 144. Okay, we'll subtract 144 from both sides. So we end up with 256 equals b squared, and then we'll take the square root, which is 16. Okay, so that means that our base is 16 inches. So now we can do our base times height, 16 times 12, right, base and height. So our area would be 192 inches squared. Okay, let's take a look at number 4 here. Find the base of the parallelogram below using the given height and area. Okay, so area equals base times height, right? And we're given that the area is 36. I'm going to plug in 36 for my area. Okay, we're given that we need to find the base. We know that we're going to leave B as the base, and then our height here is 9. So we'll fill in 9 for H. To get B by itself, we're going to divide out that 9. So if you do 36 divided by 9, you end up with 4. So that means our base is 4. And we could put inches in there so that we note that it is 4 inches. Okay, so 5 through 10. I want you to go ahead and on page 2 of your notes, we have this diagram here. And this diagram is going to be super helpful for us. I'm going to raise up my camera here. Okay, so the first question says, a kite is a parallelogram. So actually, the only things that are parallelograms are rectangles, rhombi, and squares. So a kite is just a quadrilateral because it's a 4-sided figure, but it's not a parallelogram. So that would be false. Okay, a parallelogram is a trapezoid. So a trapezoid is actually a quadrilateral. It's not even a parallelogram. So to say that a parallelogram is a trapezoid is also false. Okay, number 9, it says a trapezoid is a parallelogram, so we just talked about that. So a trapezoid is actually a quadrilateral, it's not a parallelogram. So you'd say false for that one. Okay, so number 6 says a square is a rhombus. So if we look here, a square can fall into the category of a rhombus or a rectangle. So this would be true. Okay, a rectangle is a parallelogram. So if we look here, under parallelogram, we have rectangle. So that means a rectangle is a form of parallelogram. Okay, and then number 10, a rectangle is a square. So if we look here, we can assume that a square is a rectangle, but we cannot flip that and say that a rectangle is a square, because then that means that all rectangles have 4 sides that are congruent, and that's not always true. So this would be false.